Are we on? We're running a couple of minutes late. If you have your attention, can I please have your attention? Before we get started, I do want to introduce, we've got some candidates here that are running for office that I did want to introduce before we start our meeting. Kathy Bryant, District 2.
All right.
Say hello. Say hello.
Hello.
Come on down. We just saw you 2 months ago.
I know. And you know what? Commissioner Zalak is going to give you a new update that I know that you're going to really
You mean your
enjoy.
update last 2 months ago was old?
Well, he's going to give you one now moving forward where we're going. So anyway, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Kathy Bryant. I am actually your current county commissioner for District 2. And I'm also running for re-election this year for District 2. And I'm just thrilled to be here. This is always a great group to come out to, and I enjoy coming out. I'm not going to take up a lot of time today because Commissioner Zalak, our chairman, is going to give you an update today on everything that's going on. And when you see me leave, it's because Commissioner Zalak is here speaking today, and because some of the sunshine laws and things like that, I will step out at that point. But it's great to be here. I've thoroughly enjoyed serving you the last 4 years, and I'm really looking forward to going forward and serving you. The first 4 years have obviously been a challenge with what Marion County was going through financially and with the recession. And so I'm really looking forward to the things that we should start being able to accomplish going forward. While we are, not completely out of the woods yet, we do see signs of recovery, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can do when everybody is not under such duress like we were. So property values are actually coming up a little bit. So anyway, that's it, and Commissioner Zalak is going to give you a great update, and I'm going to try to come back out next month and talk to you, so it's great to see you all.
The reason I stopped her is 2 reasons primarily. I'm always in these meetings. First of all, we are nonpartisan, so we are not taking sides. We invite any and all candidates in. We will have candidate forums in the months of June and July. Next month, we do have Supervisor of Elections coming out, Wesley Wilcox, so we'll be covering the elections. I do allow candidates to get introduced, and I do not want to get in any way, shape, or form into a political kind of thing today because Carl is speaking as chair of the commission. So it's strictly a non-political thing today for him. That all being said, I do want to introduce another candidate that is running for office, and he is running for District 4, and that's Glenn Fiorello. And since Kathy spoke for a few minutes, I'll give you just a few minutes to speak too.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Did they put a dollar on the kitty? When they talked, did they put a dollar on the kitty?
No, I don't think.
Not like at Rotary?
No.
I'm Glenn Fiorello. I'm a candidate for County Commission District 4, as Pat just alluded to. I had the honor of being a county commissioner from 88 to 92 when they told me back then, Fiorello, you need to get some white powder for the side of your head here so you look a little older than you actually are. Now I just want to keep what I got. But Marion County's changed. And I remember when I'll make it real short.
Yeah, no, Dan,
When
try
I
to keep it done.
This is just for human interest.
Okay.
In 1983, my attorney says, Fiorello, you might want to go out to State Road 200. That's where all the growth is going to be, and pick up some land. Needless to say, I thought, this is never going to progress to like it is today. Had I only known back then. I mean, it was a 2-lane road. It's phenomenal. You almost have your own city here for the most part. You really do. But on that, I'm going to say, look forward to speaking to you in May, is it?
It'd be June or July, one of those 2 months.
June, either or.
But you're welcome back next month to say hi and hello again, just like
Thank
you're doing
you.
now.
I'm Glenn Fiorello, and hopefully we'll get to speak
June or July.
June or July. Thank you so much.
Okay, now that that's over, I'll officially open the meeting. So if, Russ, would you please lead us in a brief invocation, and we'll follow with the
Heavenly Father, we thank you for watching over us in this great country of ours. We ask that you watch over those less fortunate. All this we ask in thy holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Flag ball.
Thanks, Alan. Okay, normally at this point is when I introduce Dennis Joyner, but since he's not here today and I've not heard from him, we aren't going to have a report from the sheriff's office yet, so I don't know what's going on there. So we'll skip right to the minutes. Mr. Secretary?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-oh.
I haven't switched from doorman to secretary. I didn't want minutes on it. It's here somewhere. Too much paperwork. I was supposed to be going paperless. What's the deal here? Coalition minutes, March 10th, 2014, 1 o'clock, Pat open meeting, invocation by Russ Savanaugh, pledge by me. Pat spoke briefly on a few of the events affecting the 200 corridor. The old Sims store down here on the corner, 110th and 200 is going to be a radiologist's office, and be a couple of doctors in there. And the old dentist office there at 103rd and 200 is going to be a kidney dialysis office. Is that right? Yeah. And Delaney's Deli, a New York deli, opened up in Canopy Oaks. And LB Ranch, JB Ranch is back. Whatever. That place down on 60th, no, they built now. Yeah, the JB Ranch on Southwest 60th Avenue is starting to grow and expand. They're putting up houses. And Pat gave it.
Let me see.
What? That's what you said. They're starting to grow.
Yes.
You can't even read typing.
Okay, that's JB, okay, yeah, these are, okay, okay. No. I just didn't see that.
Oh, okay. And minutes for February meeting. Well, I texted in a hurry.
Yeah.
Whoa. We're ready. The treasury report showed a balance as of March 10th of $304.78. Guest speaker was Captain James Poe, PIO officer for the Marion County Sheriff's Department. Captain Poe gave a good talk and a PowerPoint presentation on the PIO's responsibilities and limitations on various crimes and information, how information is put together before releasing to the public. And that included all the PIOs from all 67 counties. They have the same type of order. Lieutenant Joyner spoke on crime in the Southwest District. Very minimal this past month. Traffic safety, especially for those with scooters and golf carts. And he emphasized that they need to be more alert as traffic as well as their surroundings. These people dart out and they don't look either way, and people with cars need to look at the intersection as well to make sure there's not somebody on a scooter in a crosswalk. And the meeting adjourned at 2:20. That's it.
Any other additions or corrections?
I was just wondering, did you say Delaney or Delancey?
It should be Delancey. I
It's
think.
Delancey Street
Yeah,
Cafe.
Delancey.
The Lansing.
Typos, we'll fix those.
Okay, thank you.
Any
Yeah.
other?
That was a typo too.
Yeah.
Who's a C in that?
Who typed that?
I'll never tell.
Not me. Okay, we'll accept the minutes and we'll file them with the corrections and the typos fixed. And treasurer's report, and Russ is going to take over. You want to give that, Russ?
Handed to me just a few minutes ago, I
Yes.
gotta take the amounts from that. As of the end of March, our balance was $320.78.
Yep. Thank you, Russ.
Don't you think we should invest all that money?
I think maybe we earned so much,
I
though,
did.
right? Okay, we will go right then to our guest speaker, Carl Zalak. And as I said earlier, he is speaking as chairman of the Marion County Commission. And Carl is giving an update of where we're at. And of course, we're all interested we're going into the budget cycle, and hopefully you can talk a little bit about that process. And Carl, I don't know if you want a mic
We need everything we can get.
All right,
Carl,
I just want to make sure.
I don't think you need the microphone.
What's that? Okay, now I'm good. Can you all hear me all right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, fine. Well, Dr. Niblock also, a couple months ago, was back out here and kind of delivered you kind of a synopsis, a word picture. So hopefully you've seen that. If you haven't, I'm going to go over a little bit of that information as we go through the state of the county. Pat, thank you so much for allowing me to be out here. And I just want to say, I mean, reflecting on Palm Sunday yesterday at church, isn't this a beautiful community we get to live in? I was out there with my wife on the porch last night, little breeze blowing, and I'm like, man, you know, there's nowhere else in the world I would rather be than right here with my 3 little kids and my beautiful wife, and getting to enjoy the quality of life that we have here. And no one knows that more than you folks. And so, man, thank God we get to count our blessings, especially this time of year. But as your county commission, I have been elected to serve as the chairman this year by my fellow board members. And I count that such a privilege to be able to serve you as your chairman this year. We have not had any lack of issues come before the county commission. We have gotten to tackle some of the most interesting things I would have never thought of when I was running 4 years ago. And so, you know, we looked at many different ways, and the county commission has had this stress and main vision and focus on making sure that our economy is viable. When you go through a recession, it's a serious gut check, isn't it? For many businesses and for many of our communities, we have had a really rough go at it. Marion County's been impacted far worse than many communities in the state of Florida. But positioning ourselves to come out of that recession, and that's what I really want to focus on today with you as we talk about the State of the Union, is how are we positioned for the future? Because quite frankly, talking about the past never made anyone any better. But knowing where we're going and how we're going to position ourselves to get there, that's the key to success. And so when we look back, we see that we've saved nearly $55 million in tax revenues. That's been the cut from where we were 5-6 years ago to where we are today. It's a reduction of $55 million. So how did we get there? What are the things that we've had to do to become leaner and still serve at the same time? Since 2007, 2008, we've reduced county positions countywide by over 259 positions. We've maintained equipment. One of the keys that we wanted to do was make sure that we didn't have this huge equipment failure that many governments had from a county commission departments. So we've invested steadily to make sure that our technology and our equipment stopped from having this catastrophic one-time capital improvements plan. And also, this is something that really boggled my mind, was that we have realized an additional cost savings by fighting inaccurate Medicaid charges. The total savings to the taxpayers has been $3.8 million. Isn't that incredible? That inaccurate Medicaid charges could have cost this county $3.8 million. I think it's one of the things that we've been proactive with our legislature is trying to make sure that the systems that are in place as we go forward with healthcare, try to make them the best we can, so that counties don't have to deal with the burden of quite frankly something that probably shouldn't even be our responsibility to the extent that the state makes it. But we're working with our legislators. We're trying to figure out how and why and how to make sure that we get accurate bills for our citizens from Medicaid. And so just this year, 2013 and 14, several of our county departments have cut, again, another combined $2.6 million from their budgets. This board remains determined to provide as much tax relief to the taxpayer to put us in the position for success while continuing to meet the needs of our citizens and being assured we're doing everything to provide the same and hopefully even better services as we become leaner and more efficient. I would like to share some of the great examples, significant accomplishments over the last few years that continue to impact us and we're making policy decisions on even today. With regards to solid waste, the County Commission solved what had been a long-term problem, kicked down the road for 20 plus years to meet our county disposal needs for more than the next 30 years. With a deal with the Bushnell Area Landfill, the heart of Florida, it is expected to save taxpayers approximately $65 million over the next 20 to 30 years. Isn't that significant? We went from paying at the baseline landfill $42 a ton. That's what the commercial rate was. We bought 2.5 million tons of airspace in the heart of Florida landfill for $8 a ton. That's a significant reduction in the cost that we'll have to pay in the future. Because we all knew that we weren't going to site another landfill in Marion County, were we? That wasn't going to happen. With our springs, with our communities, there was just no place to viably put one. But at the same time, the solution is not just trucking it to Georgia. We had to figure out what really makes a difference and how could we really invest. And so we invested because we were fiscally sound, we invested in the future and took the dollars that we from an enterprise fund and invested that to save the citizens money over the long haul. It's going to be an incredible And it's not the prettiest thing in the world, is it, solid waste? But we all know that's a real expense to us as taxpayers and the service that we need. Marion County Utilities. Some of our customers are seeing lower bills each month thanks to a combined improved bond rating and increased efficiencies. Through the improved bond rating, the county will save a total of $4.5 million. The savings generated from the bond refinance will save our county an average of $250,000 per year. And I just want to take a second to describe what a team we have at the County Commission. We've been blessed. Our CFO, the clerk of the court, David Elsperman, has been an incredible chief financial officer for the county. And he has continued to help us save millions of dollars. And this is just another way, by working with David and his bond counsel and his financial department, that they were able to save us a significant amount of money for the future by reducing our bonds. So when we are able to make the capital investments in our utility that increase efficiency, we're able to lower the cost. When we're able to refinance our bonds, we're able to continue to lower the cost. And all of that results back in lower rates and increased credit ratings for the County Commission and for our citizens. And of course, most important is ratepayers that actually pay the bills. Other county customers who have been reaping benefits of our focus on customer service. Just last year, our Veterans Services Department provided services to more than 7,000 of our veterans and their families. If you're a veteran, please raise your hand. Thank you. We have a great department that is here to serve you. So if you need something, if you are not getting what you need from the VA, if you need some help, you need a letter, whatever it is that you need, we are there to help and support our citizens and, quite frankly, these incredible veterans that have been heroes and continue to protect this great country we call home. We've assisted over the life of the Veteran Services in obtaining $14.5 million in new benefits for our veterans here. The department remains instrumental in acquiring more than $500,000 a year for the veterans, widows, and their family. A little over a year ago, we welcomed the opening of the I-75 42nd flyover. Have any of you used that to get across town? What an incredible corridor that we've been instrumental in being able to help get real results for our community. Sometimes it's a real bear to cross I-75 and State Road 200, isn't it? So this corridor saves almost 15 minutes to get across town. Wow, that's a significant time savings. And you know, more than 12,000 people a day are using it already. So what a success story for our infrastructure. And now, one of the things that I was pleased that the Board of Trustees, the Board of County Commissioners and our trustees of our community allowed me to spearhead the initiative on compressed natural gas. It was an honor because I knew that ever since I was a little boy in this country, we've been talking about American fuel, American energy independence. We've always been talking about that as a key, not only to our community, not only to our workers, but also to our security. And we haven't solved that, but at least at the local government, we were able to take a little bit of a bite of that. And so let me tell you how we've done that. We've been transferring our fleet to compressed natural gas. We worked with a private partner in the community. Many of you all have seen the Diamond Oil around. Their head company is called Reliant Petroleum. They're a local operator, and we worked together with them. We actually put out the capital to change over the vehicles to compressed natural gas, and all of our vehicles at this point, except for a few of them, are bi-fuel. So that allows them to run on gasoline or compressed natural gas, because obviously we know the infrastructure is not quite in place. So if we have an ambulance going to Tampa, and God forbid they need to fuel up, they can still run on fuel, but when they get back, we get the tax savings of compressed natural gas. This change provides cost savings, thousands of dollars each month. So since October 1, when we first started, till now, until February, we've saved already the difference in fuel from the $3.89 and $4 a gas diesel to what we pay today. We've saved $47,000 just in fuel costs. Never mind that compressed natural gas is going to help us to have longer life, increased maintenance intervals, and all the cost savings that come along with that. A public-private partnership that allows one of our community citizens and their business to increase their business, because now that they've built one and partnered with Marion County, they have the experience needed to go build compressed natural gas stations around the state of Florida. That means, again, more of a partnership. We're working with the school board, and one of the really cool, as I've talked with the school board, one of the really cool things, we already did an internship with our really incredible students that are getting technical certificates over at MTI. And so one of the things that we were working with them, and hopefully we'll have in the future, is a certified teacher that also does compressed natural gas. We would allow them to, we would buy the product as we normally would, the vehicle and the compressed natural gas kit, and our students right here at home would be able to install those, get increased certifications, and be one of the most marketable auto tech certifications around the country already, as this really, natural gas is quite frankly a booming business around the United States. And as you can see, what we're trying to do is be good stewards of your dollars. What we're trying to do is find solutions. Because instead of just putting our heads in the sand and raising property taxes, what we did was try to use innovation and the things we knew would work to save you money. At the end of the day, I think that's the charge that we have as true servants. I want to tell you a little bit about our economy. What does our economy look like today? We have a couple really great stories to tell. Of course, everybody knows about FedEx and what's coming. But do you know that entire corridor, not just the 400 acres and the 120 acres inside of it that FedEx will be going on, but that whole 1,200 acres is probably going to become, in the next 20 to 30 years, an incredible industrial area for Marion County, where many, many thousands of jobs will be held. FedEx came and applied for 136. That's how many people work inside their distribution, actually work for FedEx. But they're building 1,000 parking spots around it for all their drivers, because their drivers are contract drivers. And so we know that probably 1,000 plus, hopefully somewhere between 800,000 plus jobs will be coming to Marion County because of that deal. Another company, Creative Medical Foam, we just signed them with the state of Florida 2 months ago. It's a company that makes creative foam products for MRIs and CT scanners, and continuing to build. We know one of the things that we're going to be able to do very well in Marion County is recruit healthcare companies that are light and small manufacturers. So we're targeting right after those folks. And one of the other stories that I really kind of get excited about is a company called Kraus. Small company, 20, 30 jobs so far. There'll be a few hundred jobs in the next 5 years is their outlook. They create, for American infrastructure, they create seals on all kinds of different pipes, whether they're in-ground pipes, storm pipes, compressed natural gas pipes. They've got these incredible innovation and patented pieces that can go on, they can seal over the top of those pipes and provide gaskets and sealants so that they don't have to replace miles of pipe or big pieces of pipe. You know what's really unique about that company is that they decided, because we were aggressive and because this community is great and the people here are great and we've got good employees, they decided to put, as an Israeli company, they decided to put their North American headquarters right here in Marion County. That's the kind of success we need. That's the kind of import business we need to be great at doing and making sure we can recruit that top quality type of folks. And Danny, the CEO, as we had dinner a few months ago when they first came, he told me that they are so excited about coming to Marion County that of course he's telling his friends. And that leaves us another opportunity to go and work with other Israeli companies to come and make Marion County their headquarters in the United States of America as well. So when we're able to increase our imports, diversify our manufacturing, put thousands of people to work in corridors, that's the kind of help we need. Not just construction, not just agriculture, not just tourism. Not that we don't need to be competitive with them. They've always been the three stools of the Florida economy. Those are great. But Marion County, we need to focus in. One of the other ways that the county commission is supporting a joint venture with the CEP and the city of Ocala is by the incubator. All three of us got together and funded the incubator. It's a small place downtown. The city of Ocala allowed us to use the building. We funded some renovations and some enhancements, and the CEP is running it. That allows small businesses that have ideas. Some of our young kids from high school, some other businesses, they were able to come in, write a business plan. They help them with a business plan, and then at some point, hopefully they'll qualify to come in and be part of the incubator. At that point, there's an incredible collision of ideas and energy that happens in the incubator. It's so exciting. I hope that every one of you will get a chance to participate in helping some of those young people, as well as just even visiting, because we've got technology companies. Actually, one just graduated, and I tell this story to symbolize the success of Marion County, and that is that on Monday morning, this young man, kind of desperate, feeling like he couldn't find a job in the technology sector that he wanted. He was an incredible graphic designer, quite frankly. Very, very talented at what he did, and couldn't find a job in Marion County for what he wanted to do. Wednesday, he gets accepted and joins a company in the incubator that would not have existed otherwise. That gentleman is now and has been writing graphics and design and program pieces and applications for Nike, Reebok, Apple, and so on, right here in Marion County. Do you know that R&L Carriers is the folks that took over the Taylor Bean and Whitaker building? iGlobal is their technology company, and they write software. The man that's running that, Bryce Carpenter, is an incredible young man. One of the great things that he told me, though, was they can recruit the very best in computer science and programming. You know why? First of all, we've got a really reasonable cost of living in Marion County. We've got a great place to live, a lot of adventure trails and all the things that young people like to do. But you know what, even more powerful than that is we're right in the middle. We're in that kind of triangle between the University of Florida, the University of South Florida, the University of Central Florida. We've got a great talent group around us. There's nothing we can't accomplish, is there? We have got the right people, and we're in the right location to be successful. And so that's the reason why Forbes, out of 10, we got ranked number 5 best place for future job growth. You know why? Because of those very reasons I outlined for you. Because our people are great. Our community is great, and we want more businesses, and we want more economy, and we want those things for our community. Do you know that we were the only place rated by Forbes in the state of Florida? One community in the state of Florida, it's us. It's because of the thing I talked about in the beginning, because we are relentlessly trying to position ourselves for success, not just for you, not just for me, but for my kids and our grandkids, that they will have the ability to have the future that they so deserve, and that they can go and compete for the opportunity that all of us got. That's the position we need to be in. That's what we're driving for. That's what success means to me. And I hope that means it to you. And we're going to do everything in our power to lead by example to that very end. I want to thank you so much. As you prepare for Easter and the blessings that we've got, I hope that you will celebrate this country, celebrate our Lord, and continue to just enjoy the great blessings we have in Marion County. Thank you very much.
Okay, now it's your turn.
All right.
You get to ask questions.
Yes, sir.
How about, like Duke bought the stuff over here on the west coast?
Yeah,
And
progress.
They want, now the first thing they're gonna do is shut down the coal power.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with the Citrus County deal.
The attitude has been that they want to force it in other ways, and I think it's encouragement of the federal government. And I think it's a serious mistake.
Well, those old coal plants, or what they call, I mean, when I met with our representative from Duke here, what they call the older coal plants, the federal government is coming down incredibly hard on. They've been very successful for the state of Florida. And the good thing about Duke is unlike many other communities, progress even before, they were able to turn on the switch, whether it was nuclear power from some regions, whether it's natural gas or coal, depending on what the commodity is, to deliver the best price to their citizens. And so that's what you love. And so you hate to see when they're taking away these plants, because it's just going to drive up the cost on us, the consumer.
Well, it's just like in the Northeast, and I'll give the example in Maine. Maine Yankee, it produced the fuel electricity with the atomic plant at 3 cents per kilowatt hour. So they killed it because of popular demand. And they spent $250 million taking it apart.
Yeah.
And now the cost is 14 cents per kilowatt hour in that state.
Well, and
I think that's stupid.
And Duke, I met with the CEO of Duke, I'll say three or 4 months ago, and he came here to show us, the demands on different types of energy, whether that's coal or nuclear or so on. The capital cost, of course, for nuclear is extreme. And then there was supposed to be another natural gas plant that went up in Palatka. That got shut down under the previous governor's administration. And so, Florida really is pretty poised to be very exceptional at energy. But yet, that's not been, quite frankly, the legislative view of Florida. And so I think there's some places, whether it's Palatka, whether it's Levy County, some of those places want those jobs and want that energy. And we should do what we can to help free that up so that those folks can have those jobs, and also we can have that energy, because the federal regulation, when I talked to him though, he said at this point they're very unclear about how many nuclear power plants will get permitted in the next 10 or 15 years. I'm very skeptical.
Right now, the people in New Hampshire are trying to close that one, and it's only, 20 years old?
That's correct. Yeah.
Well,
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. He was first.
one of the companies that seems to slip under the radar that's greatly expanded here in Marion County is Cardinal Glass.
Yes. Fantastic company.
100 jobs, extra $13 million expansion.
Yep. Cardinal glass and custom windows.
Yeah.
Both of them have expanded significantly. And I'm working with another company. We're always working with more companies because, you know, one of the things that actually truly is the best for our job growth, it's really not necessarily always bringing in, you know, some big company. You know, I mean, that's all sounds nice, but the truth is it's the mom and pops that are going to add 2-3 jobs that is going to change our community. At the end of the day, that's what's really going to make the difference. And so we've got to give them enough opportunity, enough breathing room to invest their profits back into those jobs and those families instead of having to pay higher taxes and more regulation. So, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, two things. Regarding Duke, I don't know if you've seen on the news lately, but they are a terrible corporate citizen in North Carolina. The pollution,
Okay.
the ash.
I haven't, I'm sorry, I haven't seen it.
Well, it's been on
Jan,
national
let me
news.
interrupt just one second. On Duke and the energy things, unfortunately, our county commissioners don't get too involved with that kind of stuff. But save your questions because of the fact that during the June and July timeframe, we do have a state representative that is running for re-election,
Oh.
and that's Charlie Stone.
Sure.
So
Well,
he-
this ties into something that's timely, and
yeah,
there's a
that-
deadline on it, and that's why I came today.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, that's fine, but I just want to
So what was
say
the- what
for
was the-
Charlie.
what
too.
was the deadline?
You don't sing the praises of Duke, because,
Oh, okay.
you know, they've got a scandal going with the governor there.
Right.
You know, giving them a pass on polluting the rivers
Yeah.
up there. So-
Well, I'm not giving anybody a pass. I mean, I think
No.
all of our, I mean, whether it's I get my fuel from Clay Electric Cooperative, and many people get their fuel from Seco and Duke. All I'm saying is that I was trying to talk more in the energy industry as a whole.
General, yeah.
Because, you know, it's all of those pieces coming together that produce, and Duke produces a lot of energy for Marion County.
Well, the
and
other
so-
thing that's of note, and you all have not done, the commission has not done, I went to a meeting over in Del Allen a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
About this proposed pipeline.
That's correct, yeah.
That they want to put through, coming down from Alabama through Georgia and down to Martin County in South Florida.
That's right.
Okay,
Through Marion
which
County.
which will not benefit anyone here in Marion County in any way. The recommendation, a handout they gave was that state and local government representatives should notify their constituents about this process and encourage them to comment on their areas of concern. I have some forms. It's the deadline to file these with FERC, and that's Federal Energy Regulatory Commission,
Correct.
is April 20th. You can also file a comment online. I am deadly opposed to this proposal.
Okay.
That it's insane to even think about putting it through where they want to put it.
So it's where it's going through that you have a problem with?
Yeah.
Not necessarily that I want to bring natural gas to Florida.
Well, I mean, you know, my pet dog would realize that the place to put this is through the forest, not through an environmentally sensitive area such as Rainbow River with our soil and our karst, whatever that is. And they're dangerous.
Sure.
Every
Well, they
other
need to be
day,
done the right way.
there's a
I know
pipeline
that.
accident in this country. People get killed, they explode, they cause fires. We don't want it.
Jan, let me interrupt
Well,
one
thank you.
second again, and thank you for the comment, and Carl for
Yeah.
for jumping in.
But
Have
please-
you contacted Jim Clark at all? Because Jim Clark is the editor of the South Marion Citizen.
Right.
You
That's
need
a
to
great idea.
contact him.
Yeah.
You need to have him publish that.
Okay, I will.
And in fact, I have his phone number if you see me after the meeting,
Yeah.
because he works out of his house now.
Yes.
So I will give you the number, you need to contact him, he needs to get that in the paper.
Yeah, people need to
Yeah.
make a comment opposing it and why. And they even, online at their website, they give all the reasons that they've already been given by people in Alabama and Georgia. And coming down, they've had these public meetings.
Well, thank you for the
Yeah.
information.
Yeah,
Really
Jan,
appreciate that.
talk to Jim Clark about it.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
The sheriff's asking for a 1% raise in sales tax.
No. 1 cent.
Well,
1
1
cent.
cent.
Yes, sir.
He gets the whole 1 cent or he gets a half a cent?
Not even.
Why?
Why is what?
Well, if he's
Well, I'm
asking for 1
sorry.
cent, why wouldn't he?
He's not
get it?
asking for 1 cent. He doesn't need 1 cent. the sheriff to replace his cars need, I mean, it depends on what you look at. I mean, if you want to build a training facility and you want to build new gun ranges and you want to build driving stuff and you want to build a facility that's a shared facility and all that kind of stuff, that's a debate we're going to start having here shortly. But to replace the cars, for the sheriff to replace his cars, to replace the IT infrastructure, I need somewhere between $4.5, maybe generously $5 million a year over the next 5 years. And so we're actually having a workshop on May 6th to start talking about what does the sales tax look like? Do we put it on the ballot? So I don't want to jump into too many. Here's exactly where we're going. But my thoughts on it is that I think the one or the half cent, if I remember right, it was I think it was $20 million a year. Something, I think it's right in that ballpark if I remember correctly. So the sheriff doesn't need all of that. So, well, I mean, we're not just looking at the sheriff either. Our proposals have been, as Pat sits as the chair of the fire advisory board for us as well. Our proposal from that portion looks at public safety as a whole. What does public safety look like? What is the EMS that's coming to your house in a case of an emergency? The fire engine, the police car. What are those capital needs all the way? What are some of the capital needs even in some of our cities, whether that's Denellen, Bellevue, or anywhere. So we want to look at it as a public safety organization as a whole. If we're going to look at that, we need to address our roads and critical infrastructure. And then there have been other things on the ballot or a talk about, one of the things that our community and a lot of our community citizens feel like they have been missing is kind of this multi-use facility, something that we can use for whether it's graduations at CF, performances, all of those kind of things. So there's lots of talk. At the end of the day, we're going to continue to narrow that down, have a good conversation, and figure out what's, I think, the priorities of Marion County. So we're in that information gathering. Yes, ma'am.
Do you include libraries as part of that talk?
Yes, the libraries are on the part of the talk, especially freedom.
Yes.
Because the reason why freedom is certainly, I think, more likely, in my honest opinion, is that freedom already has staff. Freedom already has all of the things from a building block and operations and maintenance. If you expand freedom to make it the technology center that it needs to be, to kind of these high-tech libraries is the new model, which really makes a lot of sense in my mind. That freedom is perfectly set up to do that and have that expansion. Whereas some of the other libraries that have been on our books for quite a long time, they're whole new buildings. They're whole new operating costs. They're millions of dollars a year to run. And so if you're going to build it, you better make sure you can run it and put the people in it. So that's part of the discussion as well. Yes, sir.
Are we still in the county waiving builders' costs?
Yes, impact fees is still has a moratorium until the end of this year.
Okay. I look at giving builders a leeway there, and then you look over here at our ambulance drivers, EMTs, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
5 years experience. They're leaving the county.
Yes, sir.
Why isn't someone smart enough in the county to realize you're giving all these builders
A free pass.
You're giving them a tax break so they can build more houses, which we have
Too many.
in abeyance now that we don't use
Excess.
because they're bankrupt. Yet you're giving them money. Over here, 5 years experience? People are leaving this county, Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
Why isn't the commissioners waking up to the fact that pretty soon it'll be 4 years experience? The people that are going to come out and haul your butt to the hospital when you have an accident, come into you at 2 o'clock in the morning, take your wife away or your child away for an emergency. 5 years, 4 years? Why aren't we looking at that? I don't need all this infrastructure coming into this county. I've been here 18 years. I came from California. The same thing happened out there. Believe you me, I've been out there for 35 years. Every one of them. And now it's just flooded. And it never catches up. I don't care how many new buildings you put up, how many new people come in. It's a monster. And once you realize that, and once you get a little older, you probably realize that. It's a monster that accumulates. It rolls over you. But I would like to see our
So as I get older, I'm gonna see the monster under my bed.
People, fire department, I'd like to see them, their wages come up.
Sure.
I have a neighbor in the street that drives 50 miles down south to work with the EMTs down there. And I don't need some high school kid coming up to kick my butt up when I need them, okay?
Okay. You ready for the
Take
answer?
that back to the commissioners and let's see something.
You ready for the answer? Okay, first of all, Pat, are we working?
Yes,
to
we are working
bring-
on
So
that.
she's on our fire advisory board. We are working to solve the problem.
Yes.
That particular problem is multi-pronged. Let me take the impact fees first, okay? Impact fees fund our roads for capacity projects and capacity projects only. Where the money is collected for impact fees, it's split up in 4 or 5 zones around the county, and that money has to be spent in that district, all the different districts, has to be spent in the district for capacity projects. That means if, so by state law, if a light needs to be enhanced, or they need to put a light somewhere because the traffic's increasing, so we need to go from a stop sign intersection to a lighted intersection, or turn lane needs to be added. Any of those things that increase capacity, going from 2 lanes to 4 lanes, that's the only thing by state law you can use impact fees for, is called capacity. The sales tax, the gas tax can be used for all the overlay. We're about $8-9 million a year behind in what we have money for from the gas tax to actually do all the overlay we need. So you can't take money from impact fees, raise impact fees. I don't care how much you want to raise them. You can raise them to 50 grand a house. That money will never get to firefighters and EMTs. From the state statute, the way our state and counties are set up, you can't move the money that way. So that's the first part. The second part is because 3 years ago, we needed to reduce the impact fees. As we've looked in it, we've needed to have a plan so that when engineers and people were going to do projects, like medical offices, doctors I talked to, they built their stuff during that time and came off that capital because they could save the money in the impact fees. So our traffic on roads actually went down in almost every road in Marion County. Almost every one of them. The traffic on the main arteries went down over the last 3 or 4 years. So you can add infrastructure to it without increasing the traffic numbers. That allows you to do that. And I'll be honest with you, builders aren't getting that break. People that are investing their money, the citizens, the doctors, the people that are coming to live here, those are the people that are getting the break. Because everybody from a builder standpoint has to meet the market. If somebody else is selling them a house and it's $5,000 or $10,000 less, who are you going to build with? You're going to build with the guy that's going to give you pass along the break to the homeowner or to the business owner. And so now let's flip over to the fire side, the EMT side. We had kind of a meeting and workshop with our fire chief about 3 months ago, and yes, they're seeing that trend of some people with EMS, leaving us probably around the 5-year mark. We haven't had that. Most of the time, people come in EMS, they work for a year or 2 with us, and then they move on. We always have had about a 10% turnover. That's just fire department. People get in it a lot of times as they're new out of high school or out of college and don't really, it's not all that it was cracked up to be. How's that? Many times people change their careers early in life. And so what we're looking at is how do we recruit people that are going to stay? And how do we incentivize people that are going to stay over the long term and have that experience? In our advisory board, along with some other experts, have come up with some great thoughts. One of the things is that we need to put back in a recruiting program to recruit people and kids, younger people from Marion County, not from other places. Because if they're already here, they live in, their family's here, and we can help them to get through school, or they can get through school and they come to work, they're more likely to stay long term. That's number one. We've got to put that program back in place, and so that we're working with the fire college and we're working with the college and the universities. The other thing is that you're right. At some point, we need to try to pay those folks and incentivize that as we go through our union negotiations. And we just had one of our first meetings. We can't talk about that out in public yet, but we're looking to shift the way we do business, because the reality is the people on the back of the ambulances are doing the majority of the work in regards to how many calls they're doing a day. So if you look, fire rescue responded to 66,081 fire and EMS calls. 80 to 85% of those are medical calls. So is the structure. We have had a young department from a fire. We built the fire department over the last 10 years, 15 years, new fire stations, and trying to make it equipped to take care of people. We are learning that we have always incentivized careers on the fire side. We've always made it so that they can step up and move up and try to have a long career with a department, you know? We didn't do that with EMS. When we first got EMS over, you know, we realized that we had a problem. And we realized that one of the reasons they're not saying is because we're not incentivizing them to have a career with us. There's no, you know, career ladder, if you will. There's no steps for them to take to become better and better, more certified, to get those advancements, to make more money because they're more skilled, right? That's what you need. You need a performance, and you need people to want to get those enhancements in more certifications, and then you want to pay them a little bit more so they stay here. So those are all the things we're looking at and trying to figure out how to fund as we're coming out of this recession.
Is there any plan to do that now?
Yes, we're in the middle of a union negotiation, and Pat and her team has put together a 5-year performance where we want to be in 5 years from now, what our level of service needs to be, and then the challenge is figuring out how to fund that. So where do you go? And so that's our challenge.
Do you have the
Hold on.
number?
Yes, ma'am.
You just said something about May 6th meeting. Is that an open meeting?
Yeah, it's a workshop. It's a county
And
commission
where is
workshop.
that going to be held?
I think it's just at the Board of County Commissioners. I think it's just at our meeting room.
Okay.
But if you ever have a question, you can always call our office. It's 438-2323. And Teresa will be happy to help you with anything.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
What's your take on Ocala, Glen Hill Farms and Ocala Stud Properties? What's your take on that?
Well, it's in the city. We don't make the decision on that. No. I mean, if you want just to talk about it, that's a hard decision. I mean, to be honest.
Leave it alone.
Okay.
Easy.
Well, the problem.
You're going to have more hospitals, more police, more fire. You guys need to get together. This is insane.
Well, the problem with it is, I guess the biggest mistake there is that when the city annexed it in, they don't even have a zoning for it. So they've already given, let's just be honest, they've already given them 4 or 5 units an acre. That thing's already permitted to do 4 or 5 units an acre. Now, what they were doing is, I think, I didn't get to see the zoning because I'm not a city commissioner, I'm a county commissioner, but I think they were going for 12 units an acre or something like that? Up to 18. Well, that's the middle density for the city. And so if it's got water and power and good ingress and egress, meaning it's got good access, normally the city grants that. So that's a decision they're gonna have to make within the city. But it's already zoned. I'm just telling you, it's already zoned for 5 units an acre, so. Because the city of Ocala is supposed to be an urban, but from a planning perspective, the city of Ocala is supposed to be the urban core. And so if you're gonna put high density, that's where you put it, inside the city. Yes, sir.
You were talking about impact fees.
Yes.
I have a question, if it's bothered me on the side, it's a simple one. Why is it when you install streetlights, and it's come out in the newspaper that the cost is sometimes $100,000, like the one that was down near the hospital, West Marion, it was $325,000.
For the
What the hell are they doing, putting gold in there?
For the stoplights?
You're talking about stoplights, right?
Stoplights.
Intersection.
Yeah.
I don't know, they're just expensive. I
They're
don't have a great
very-
answer, but I'll find out more.
Carl, I
Yeah,
can address this.
Sure.
Years ago, when we got the traffic light for Queen of Peace, we got a very, very reduced price on that at that time. I begged and pleaded with the state and with the counties and everything. And I got the state to throw in their engineering fees, just their engineering fees on that particular light. And that was back in 2002. So we're talking 12 years ago. We're $17,500, just the engineering fees. That does not
Plus the
count.
traffic study, right?
Oh, yeah, it doesn't count the traffic
study's a
study,
couple $100,000.
feasibility study, et cetera, which I got them to throw that in for free too. The actual cost of that traffic light, after great reductions, was $120,000, which was donated by the parties. And the county commission did kick in $10,000 towards that. The rest of it was
Did the
all.
church put in 50?
Yeah, they put in the lion's share of it, and then we had other donors that donated. Now, unfortunately, the costs have done nothing but go up since then. It's the concrete poles, it's the arms that go out depending upon what kind of intersection you're putting in. If you're putting in an intersection that has those arms, you know what I'm talking about, where they hang the lights and so forth, that costs more than if you're going to have it wired. And it costs more if you're going to have signals, the signalization, if you're going to have left turn lanes, you're going to have those kind of lights.
And it depends on too. I mean, if you're
The span.
spanning, you know, a 2 or 3 lane, you know, 2 4
Or
lane
6
road,
lane.
it's one thing. But when you get out here to Highway 200, and you're
Six.
spanning 6, 7, 8 lanes with turn lanes and everything, it becomes significantly more.
Are you talking like where racetrack is?
Sure.
You know, that's what it is.
That kind of
Yep.
stuff, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a huge intersection.
It's
Yeah.
very expensive.
It's like buying a car with all the
Yeah.
options.
It's amazing. When I got
Some of them.
involved in getting that light for Queen of Peace, I was blown away.
Oh, yeah, Queen
How
of
much
Peace
it
has
costs.
it
Yes, sir.
too, and racetrack.
Sorry.
Every time the city annexes a piece of property, does it hurt the county?
Sometimes.
I think that's the answer sometimes. It depends on what the piece is and where it's at. And
I'm talking about money-wise.
No, I mean, and look, if the city takes any part of the city, I mean, we still get a base millage rate from everybody in Marion County, and they get whatever 5 or 6 mils on top of that for everything inside the city of Ocala. So if you annex into the city and you do not currently have their wastewater, water, or their electric, and you get those things, it's going to be a much more expensive project. What else? The other negative thing that can hurt the county when you look at it from that end is that the city comes out, annexes, and then puts a CRA around it, which is a community redevelopment area, and meets that criteria. Then it can take all of the revenue or any of the future revenue that this county gets, and it can take that and put it into a CRA, and that can devastate a county at the end of the day. Yes, sir. Do you have another question?
Just to go reiterate something about my previous question, do you have so you can tell these people, and when it comes time to increase the taxes, they'll know why. Do you have the number, I do, the people who have left the fire department, the EMT?
The EMT
last
since
year?
when? No, I don't.
We've got it.
We have it, but I just don't know what it is off the top of you know what it
I
is?
read somewhere like
No.
60 to 70
Probably about right.
employees,
That's
60
probably-
to
it
70
could be.
employees.
That's about
But we
right.
have, I
So,
mean,
you know, I'm just telling you.
we have a
seniors,
600-700
If you want
unit
coverage,
fire.
don't yell at the commissioners when they raise your taxes to get an EMT out to your house.
right.
Yeah.
No, and we have a 600-700 person fire department, and so we have about a 10% turnover. So
Yeah.
that's,
That's quite a bit.
yeah. Well, I don't know, most fire departments are approximately the
That's
same.
about what it was.
And the reason, listen, and quite frankly, the reason that I forgot to mention this, but the reason why we're losing a lot more people right now is that some of the bigger departments are hiring.
Yeah.
So when they hire 50 people,
Right.
you know, we don't typically do that. We've actually never, during the recession, we try to manage it so that we keep all our people. But we also picked up some people that were traveling too. So we've got a lot of folks that at this point are traveling 40, 50, 60 miles to come work for Marion County. A lot of them, several of the resignation letters that I've seen in the last few weeks have said, I'm moving, you know, first of all, everybody says, well, I don't make enough money. So they don't make enough money. But the other major reason was they could move closer to their family. And who blames them for that? I mean, I don't blame anybody for moving closer to their family.
Let me piggyback on
Yeah.
that. One of the things, just so you are aware, because we have talked about this, and 60, 70 sticks in my head, Gene, as far as that goes. Some of it is normal loss. You're always going to have some normal loss.
Attrition.
Yeah, you're going to have some of that. But one of the things that happened to us, and it's been very interesting to watch, during the recession, we were one of the only counties that was still hiring for the fire department and for our EMTs and paramedics. We were still hiring. So we attracted people that were driving the 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 in some cases miles to get a job here in Marion County, because so many of our other counties surrounding us were no longer hiring.
And they're laying
period.
off hundreds
They
of
were laying
firefighters.
off. And when those people that were being laid off came to Marion County, we had positions
Yeah.
open because our ambulance service was increasing. So we were in a very fortunate position at that point in time. Now that the economy is starting to turn around, what's happening is some of these other departments in these other counties have opened up, and they're hiring in some of the people at as much as $10,000 more than what we are. So some of those people who had come here from other places are, as Carl said, now going back home because they can. Now their jobs are available back in
And
those
so you
other
see that a
counties.
lot because
we've got quite a bit of that.
during that time, we were able to hire
Yeah.
people with a lot more experience.
Yeah.
You know, instead of having to train them from ground,
Yeah.
from zero.
We're not short-staffed, are we?
What's that?
We're not short-staffed.
Not yet.
We're getting, we'll be close in the near future. And the difference too, I mean, you have to realize firefighters have a unique schedule. And it allows them to travel further. A normal person, probably in a normal 9 to 5, working 40, 60 hours a week or whatever, they're only gonna travel so far. Maybe an hour and a half, maybe, something like that. But firefighters work 24 hours on, 24 hours off. 24 hours on, 48 hours off. So they work one day and then they go home for two, 3 days, depending on their schedule. So they can, that job allows them to travel further by the time. So those are my thoughts. Someone else? Yes, sir.
You mentioned a business owner named Bryce Carpenter. I missed the company name.
iGlobal.
Thank you.
Yes,
What do they do?
They are a logistics software firm. And so they have, his grandfather owns R&L Carriers. Are you familiar with? Anyway, R&L Carriers, and so they build units for logistics on shipping. All the different elements of that. It's got a lot of it. So it's quite complicated. Yes, sir.
One follow-up. It's interesting to hear the energy discussions. You ought to be glad you're not in Gainesville with a biomass plant. $128 a kilowatt hour.
Yeah. And that's simply, I mean, one of the other kind of interesting energy things that we do that some other places don't do is that we've actually signed a deal with another private company on our solid waste stuff. And so at Baseline Landfill, we have a deal with G2 Energy. They have a turbine, 1 or 2 turbines at our landfill, and they pump the methane gas. So instead of just burning it like we used to do, we're actually taking that, shipping it, and selling that energy, and the county makes about $250,000 a year off that solid waste methane gas. So, it's taking advantage of all of those pieces that are helping us and helping to position us.
Are you saying that the stuff we throw away, is that stinky?
Yeah. No, it's not stinky, but it produces gas as it breaks down. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for allowing me to be with you.
A couple things now. Thank you, Carl. Stay and feel free to ask Carl more questions in a little bit here, but a couple of things. I did not introduce Leah before from Parks, and what are we doing in Parks, Leah?
Well, we're getting ready to start our summer program, so if your grandkids are coming down or your kids are ready to go, we've got a multitude of summer camps to take advantage of. They're not only fun, we don't, yes, we do babysit to a certain extent, but it's an educational process as well. And then secondly, we're keeping up our adult activities such as paddleboarding, kayaking during the summer. So there's always stuff there for y'all to do, and it can be with a family too, because we do family-oriented activities. And third, we are starting our tournament season at our sports plexes. In fact, May 2nd and 3rd at Shocker Park, we're having the Mother's Day tournament there. They're expecting somewhere around 50 teams or so. Then we start with Rotary, we start getting into the rookie qualifiers, and of course we're hosting the Babe Ruth Series in August. So there's going to be lots of activities for y'all to participate in. Bring your grandkids, bring your kids, and we can keep them busy.
One thing I haven't mentioned to you, if you don't know, and Russ, I'll get to your question. Leah is one of us out here on the corridor. She not only works for the county and is terrific in Parks, but she lives right here and on top of the world. So I just wanted to let you know she's one of us. Right.
The old Wells Fargo Bank on 99th Street up here?
Yes.
They're tearing that down now. They've got plans to put something else up there?
I have not heard. I didn't know
It's
they
down.
They just put a sign up there?
The old, which, no, wait.
I don't know, I'm asking.
Yes.
No.
Russell, you're not talking about the brand new one there in front of
No,
Canada.
the one on 99th.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. I I don't know, they had that for sale for a long time, and I don't know if they've sold it or what they've done with it. Yeah, we'll find out. We'll let you know. Let's see, what else? Will you fill us in so that everybody knows what you all, and I've forgotten your first name, I'm sorry.
That's okay, my name's Dan.
Dan, yes. Fill us in, Dan, on what you are doing here and what you're going to be doing for us, if you would.
Well, first of all, I'm a serious Google person, and Gmail is great for social networking, and you have the opportunity to post anything on YouTube. And I think I'm recording this so that hopefully you'll get a YouTube address to synchronize with your regular one, and that way you can post these up and people can watch them.
Terrific. Thank
I
you.
thought in order to be successful with Google, you had to be under 12 years old.
So,
I have an advantage there, sir. I've been in computers since 1970.
wow. Good.
I was in a Rotary meeting up in Maine with 100 people there, and they couldn't run the damn thing. I yelled, "Is there a 12-year-old here?" And they got so mad they went out and got some kid to come in and fix it.
Well, somebody had to teach that kid. But,
Anyhow, that's what Dan is doing here, in case anybody wondered. And hopefully we will get that going, and this way we'll be able to have our candidate forums and things like this up and available for people. So that's what we're hoping. Now, does anybody else, Dan?
So when are we going to have candidates to actually speak?
That candidates will be speaking the months of June and July.
Okay.
And the primary is in August. I'm not sure what the date is, Carl.
August 26th.
26th. We may still have candidates the month of August then, because I have not researched yet how many judge candidates. There may be some judge candidates.
Are you gonna do them, like one
Yeah.
school board, one county commission, one?
Exactly. Yeah, like we've always done in the past. We always kind of keep them a little bit separated. Because we don't want to mix up.
Really good debate.
Yeah.
For YouTube.
Yeah.
Great.
So we'll have it separated, and then I hope to get the judge candidates out too, whatever judge candidates are going to be running.
You
Yes.
avoided May. What happened?
May, we've got Wesley Wilcox from the
He's
Supervisor
good.
of Elections Office, who's going to be telling us all about what he's done, what he's made some changes, talking about the elections itself, et cetera, et cetera. So he's excited about coming. And he says, tell the folks out there, he loves us out here, he really does, he enjoys it. He's a real ham, he's just a real ham, he loves to speak, he's a sweetie. But he likes questions and answers. He will have a prepared speech, but he says, I'd much rather answer questions. So be prepared with your questions.
You mean we can annoy him?
Yes, Dan?
Yeah, I was going to comment that statistically, YouTube is the second largest video service in the entire world, behind Netflix. So, and these little things have changed the world because now you can watch wherever you are.
Would you help me run mine?
Okay, all of that
You
being
know where the kids be failing up, Will.
guys, all of that being said and everything, I do want to address just real briefly the fact and let you know, and I'll try and keep you posted. The fire department is, as Carl said, we're working on our 5-year master plan, and it goes through a lengthy process right now. We're into the budget cycles, we're starting into the budget cycle for the fiscal year 2014, 2015. And the budget hearings will actually start in June and not get finalized until September. And so we're working workshops ahead of that and so forth and so on. We are very aware of what our response times are in the fire department and emergency medical services. We're aware of the fact that we are starting to lose people, and of course at the same time that we're looking at all of this, the union contract is coming due this year, so we're started in union negotiations. Had their first meeting, as Carl said, just a week or so ago. We'll have more of that. I will keep you posted as we're going through that process. We met with the county commission as an advisory board. Was that just last week?
Last week.
Yeah, last week we had a workshop there. We're going to be scheduling another workshop sometime, not the May 6th meeting, but someplace right around there probably.
And tell everybody, I didn't get a chance to talk about some of the proposals we had for the for the extra intensive care unit.
Yeah, I was
That's
gonna
a
mention
great-
that, yeah. One of the things that we are working on, and I don't wanna make any firm announcements on it yet, because nothing's been finalized yet, but we have had proposals from two entities for critical care units. And critical care units are a heavier duty, bigger type of ambulance. Think of them as an emergency room on wheels that has not only a paramedic, but a nurse, a specially trained critical care nurse on board. So TPA, for instance, stroke patients can get immediate help in one of these kinds of one of these entities. Shands and Ocala Regional have made proposals to us thus far. I understand that now that Monroe has made the transition, I have been told that they are thinking about getting into this critical care unit situation too. So we'll be talking to all of those. One of the reasons that we're talking to them is it's a higher level of care for us in the county. And let's face it, I'll raise my hand, we're aging. Yeah, the gray hair's here, but I cover it up. We're aging and we need these kind of facilities, number one. Number two, we need more ambulances. But if we can get critical care units on the road, then that will free up some of our existing ambulances, so we won't need as many of our ambulances. And these partnerships that we're talking about are really, really beneficial. Shands was talking about, we'll pay for the unit, we'll pay for this, we'll pay for that, you help provide some of the personnel, not the nurse, but some of the others. So we're talking our portion of payment on that would be minimal compared to the initial outlay. So those are things that are all we're looking at.
I still want to screw Ocala Regional by doing that.
Well, we're all talking about it yet. This is just, it's all in the talk stage yet, Delphine. It's not, nothing's been finalized. So it's all being talked about. But it's something that may be coming down the road, who knows when and what kind of format it's going to wind up being. We don't know. So just wanted to let you know.
There's another solution. Do what I do. Formaldehyde preserves you.
There you go.
What do you call yours?
I took 20 years off my life.
All right. Okay, with that, next month, like I said, we got Wesley Wilcox, and let's have a motion to adjourn so we can do the 50-50.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, we'll adjourn and.
We got the 50-50, so don't rush off, get to save your tickets. We got a whole $11 to.
Oh, no kidding.
Here, go ahead and do it.
I always draw one.
All right. Ready? 585906.
906.
906, going once?
Okay, you got that.
Here we go.
One down.